We're not here to make up the numbers, we're here to compete as well. This squad, with the power they have on their day, they can do anything they want.
Welcome to the Glassgirls network.
Proud sponsors of
Neve Deasy
and Will Rogers.
And today we're going to talk about, we've had two new signings, which is very, very exciting. Having watched the pair of them train, play, they both look very, very exciting signings. And then we're going to get on to about our previous pre-Christmas and pre-New Year. And I'd like to say Happy New Year to everyone, by the way. Happy New Year all. So on to our two new signings. We've signed Lois Jefferies from Boldmere and Lexie Harrison from
TNS.
Yeah.
That's the one.
In the Welsh Premier League. On to Lois Jefferies first. What a great addition she looks to be. We've not seen her live yet. It's been the longest debut in history by the looks of it. 7 weeks, as John would say. Old Stato over here. But from what we've seen pre-Stour, she looks a very, very exciting player. Kieran, what do you expect from Lois?
Yeah, obviously, like you say, she's had that experience in sort of definitely in Tier 4, in Tier 3 as well. She comes in, she's another body in the attack as well. I think, you know, we've said it on previous episodes of this podcast that competition is one of the biggest factors that I think makes a good squad. You know, it always drives you to be your best self, really. And if you're Neve Deasy, say, looking at Lois coming in, you know, competing for your striking role, it's gonna spur you on. It's gonna bring the best out of you, and yeah, I'm really happy to get her in. You know, it's no secret that there are a lot of clubs interested in her for sure because of the quality that she has. And yeah, I'm glad to get her through the door and hopefully see her play sometime soon because yeah, like we say, it's been a long time coming.
And on to you, John. What do you think Lexie Harrison will bring to the table?
We've heard a lot of things, haven't we, like informally. We haven't officially been told anything. We haven't seen too much apart from the training. I know you met her on the actual shirt signing day. I've been very lucky to speak to her dad for a good half an hour, and you see a few YouTube clips here and there. I don't want to give too much away because we've been told that we can't really like say too much just yet, like from what the coaches have said. But I think what she will bring is just another dynamic to the front line. You look at what we've got already. She'll add to that. And I think more than anything, I think she's excited to be here because she can continue learning the players that she's around. She'll learn from those because they're better quality than what she's used to, better quality coaches. And I think it just says something when you can travel that distance from where she lives all the way to here, and she's still prepared to be here. And I think it's just a great time for both parties.
Yeah, I'd echo that in terms of Lexie. She from what we've heard and what we've seen on clips on the internet, a very, very pacey winger. Looks like she'll cause a lot of defenders a lot of problems with the raw pace that she's got. And especially, I think this club as a general feels like a really good fit because from previous clubs she knows the coaching staff, and it'll only continue to develop her as a player and as a person. As we know, Stourbridge, it's more not just how good you are, it's the person you are as well. You have to.
Yeah.
We see it week in, week out down here. Everyone's involved with everything, and I think she's a very, very good fit for that. I
think she's training well as well. From what we've heard, you know, we've heard that her and Lois have settled in really well on training, and they're like all working nicely together, forming those relationships up front. And I think we'll see a lot of that now that we've brought in two new strikers, Hannah Fishwick being back from her injury that she had at the start of the season. All of a sudden now, it's not just Will and Neve. Everyone's got to start interacting together. You know, Lindsay's playing further upfield now than she was doing at the start of the season. All of a sudden, you've got like 6 or 7 players there that have got to start learning to play with each other. And I'm pretty sure that they'll do that, and it's going to look really, really exciting for a Stourbridge fan.
Yeah, I as well. I think it's very interesting, like you say, that it brings a whole new dynamic to the attack as well. Like you mentioned, she is, from what we've heard, very, very pacey, and I think that's something that we've definitely highlighted over recent months or so, that we haven't really got that direct pace in the side really. Where I know there's a couple, maybe Lindsay is up there, but it is very limited, I would say, in the attack. So to bring her in is definitely a benefit to us. She sounds like a quality player from what we've heard, and yeah, yeah, she's going to bring that whole new dynamic, like I mentioned, and I'm excited to see it. Hopefully she's going to be that sort of player that, you know, wants to take a player on, is going to get the fans out their seats and really entertain us, because that's exactly what we want to see, really.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the two new signings, Andy?
I think they're both excellent signings. Just thinking on Lois, I'm interested to see how she links up with Neve Deasy as well, because I'm thinking it's going to be like a change of formation now, you know, two up top. That's going to be an interesting thing to see what Fisher decides to do with the team going forward. So from what Lois, I'm thinking from clips I've seen, and great ball control, you know, linking up the play as well. So see how that dynamic works between both her and Neve Deasy as well. On Lexie as well, just the movement I've seen as well. It's just like getting into the right positions, sort of receiving the ball as well. So definitely great additions to the team, and I'm just looking forward to like the second half of the season and how well we're going to do as well.
Yeah, touching on that, I think from what we've seen from Lois in clips, she can play out and out on her own, but she can also play as a two. She can drop in and play others in. She's got that technical ability, which I would say will bring more out of the other players. Like with Neve, we've seen that a lot this season. Neve dropping a bit deeper, Pitbull playing in and then getting into the box herself. Maybe it can balance her game. She can be more of the attacking threat that she was last season, more in the box, more fox in the box instead of linking the play. We've said this many a time on here. We've said how the team develops, how we can chop and change the formation with the squad that we had. To improve that with the two signings we made is absolute unreal.
Definitely.
Like the two, and the calibre of the signings as well, very, very good. And I think they will bring out the best in the other players. They will give others.
That's what more competition for places, and the other players seeing these two, well, Lois and Lexie coming in, like, oh, okay, I've got to keep up my game as well. I want to still be getting in the team as well. I want to be playing alongside these players as well. So yeah, be interesting to see.
So it's free to find. I mean, you get the top goal scorer in the league, and you adding to that as well. I
think that's two things there. So yeah, just on that, I did just want to say, it shows a statement of intent from the club. The fact that we're banging in loads of goals, sitting top of the league, and we've just made two additions like that is phenomenal. And it just really shows how good the club is there, and how the chairman and vice chairman back the management. But I think for me as well, what I'm looking forward to, especially with Lois, is not just what she can do on the field, but it's more about like her leadership skills, more than her actual what she can bring actually like with football. You know, she's been around for a long time, and she's used to the National League probably more so than any other player. So how's she now going to build them dynamics with the players and get the best out of the players? And I'm not going to say she's like a leader or anything, because it's hard to use that word at the moment, but she's very experienced. So hopefully, you know, that experience can rub off with some of the other players as well.
I would say that the word that you use there, experienced, it only adds. We know to sign here, you've not only got to be a good player, you've got to be Stourbridge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We know that every player that's come in throughout the previous window and windows before are Stourbridge. They fit the ethos, they fit the mentality, they fit the way the club wants to go, and that's where it lies for me. Is they seem the right characters to be the right fit of player as well, the right character to be in this team. We've seen it with Sophie Levick. We saw a great interview with Kieran the other day. Like, not only is she a great player on the field, but the person off it as well. She's such a lovely, genuine person. It's a 100% person, and she only wants the best for this, and that's where it lies. Same with Neve Deasy when we've done interviews with her. You can see that the person behind the player is a genuine person, really, really good. You've got to fit the both. You can't just be a great footballer, you have to be Stourbridge as well, which for me will make these a very good fit. I
think that's where we're looking at it, Andy, like the fact that we're in a position as a club that we don't just need to sign top players, but we could also pick and choose characters as well, can't we?
Yeah, 100%. I think Fisher's always said, it might have been, I think it was maybe the first press conference that we did, that if you don't fit the mould, like you've mentioned, the types of characters that we want, then he's not interested, and that's fair enough. You know, I think it is such a big part of why we're doing so well and how we perform and everything, really. You know, it's so important that to have, you know, players down here having social time together, that if you don't really fit that, then you know, you aren't for Stourbridge. You can go and play football somewhere else, I suppose. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Andy?
So I just wanted to add, like I say, this team wants to build on the success it's already had. We're not stopping, we're not resting on our laurels. We're just like, we want to be getting to that tier 3, and you know, the signings we've made a statement of intent as well. So let's say the second half of the season we'll push on, and let's say hopefully by the end of it we'll be celebrating and getting into tier 3 as well, and then pushing on even further, because let's say this club wants to achieve that success and it will not stop until it gets there.
I just wanted to add as well, it's a topic we talk quite a lot about when we're doing these podcasts, team rotation and squad rotation. You know, to bring in, like we've already said, players of this calibre, and you know, recently we've been very unlucky with the games we've had called off. So, you know, I haven't looked at the schedule myself, but I'd imagine there is going to be a period of time where we have lots of games coming thick and fast.
Yeah.
And it's important. It's so important. We're going to have injuries. We've had our fair share of injuries already this season, and yeah, to be able to chop and change for fitness, poor form, you know, injuries like we mentioned. It's so important, and yeah, like we say, to have players like Lexie and Lois to slot back in, it's brilliant.
It's really sorry, go on.
Going on what you said, the injury. So we were unfortunate enough because the game was called off against Sutton for weather circumstances, but then we was very, very fortunate enough to, because the girls were willing to do a training session outside. And stood out there watching it all. EFDC looked so sharp, considering she's been out with a prolonged period with her injury. She looked so sharp. She looked like she hadn't been out. She seems to thrive off it almost. She's had that setback and she wants to come back with a bang. She looked really, really sharp outside, and for me, that's what it's about. We've got that competition facing her, and that'll only push her and the likes of Lindsay, Mill and the rest of the attackers to be better players themselves, because of the competition we've brought in. Yeah,
it's like we were saying earlier off camera, better players obviously could coach other players, can't they? So not intentionally, but now that you're playing around better players, you'll automatically pick and choose their best bits, won't you? And you know, when you're playing like tier 6 football, you know, your opponents and your teammates may not be at that, you know, the kind of tier 3 kind of level, but now you look at some of the players that we've got in the squad. You know, if you're up and coming, or if you're a youngster, or even if you're just someone that just needs to learn what aspect of your game, you've got players around you now who you can just copy, you know, a certain trait off that player, a certain trait off that player, and it's just going to make you an all-round better player.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And look, you imagine you are a 16-year-old striker in the academy, and you've seen Lois Jefferies walk through the door, a player that's had tier 3 experience. You know, there is so much that she can offer, you know, for a player that's starting their career. I think that's a really interesting part as well, isn't it? Because these players, you know, we see them being touted as role models, and it's interesting because how much of an effect does that have on the sort of younger generations? I would imagine quite a bit, because we're seeing how well this first team are doing week in, week out, and the younger teams are surely aspiring to be like them and taking pointers off their game and things like that, just to improve themselves, really.
Well, for me, that's where it's at. If you get a youngster coming through and they can pick up bits of everyone's game around them, and it makes you generally a better player all round, because you're learning, you're still in that age where you can develop. Every player's in that age where I think if you have nothing to learn, then it's the point.
That's I was going to say, that younger age, it's all about the developments, and playing too, but it's not, so when you're playing the game, it's not necessarily all about the result or the winning, it's just like you're developing your game over time. As well.
And that's where it's at. Every player at any age is always developing, and I think with the current crop of players that we've got, they can all develop off each other, they can all learn 100%. Things from each other, and they can all...
Like, the training, it's competitive, but in the right way. They're all trying to push each other on, so like...
How lucky is Sarah and Grace at the moment? You know, the fact that they can just look up to like 5 or 6 forwards. Well, there's nowhere else that they can be.
How they train and how they play as well.
Well, from what we've seen of Grace, she looks a phenomenal footballer, and she's got a lot of attributes that her sister's got. And I think where she can keep developing and keep thriving, she'll definitely only get a better player, and under the tutelage that we've got here and the coaching she'll get, she will become a much better player, and same as her sister, she'll keep thriving. And I think that brings us on to talk about the squad and the signings. On to the results prior Christmas and prior New Year. We'll start off with the one where we finished our last show, which has been quite a long time. It feels like it's been forever.
Literally years ago.
It's Peterborough United away in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
We went there with very, very high hopes. We turned up, the pitch was a lot smaller than we expected, which played their hands a lot more than it did ours, because it limited quite a lot of the footballing aspect. But fair play to Peterborough, they come out and they give us a real stern test. We lost 2-1, they were very, very good, but the team that we put out pushed them all the way. Finished 2-1, and I'm going to say their goal, it was one in a million. It was one of them. It's never going to be scored again. It was a goal worthy to win a game of that. It was a very, very close game. Our girls done us nothing but proud with the way they performed, the way they played for the whole game. And for me, I thought I was going to penalties, but from one moment of magic at the end of the game, it's one of them.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, wasn't it? I think that's the only way to describe it. But you know, we had that same success happen to us against Leafield the week earlier, and we know how good that felt. So yeah, to be on the wrong end of it this time, it's obviously disappointing. I think we came into the game with a lot of hope. You know, we'd beaten them 4-0 in the league down here earlier this season, and I know one or two comments were said, but perhaps maybe that got to us a bit on the day. I don't know, maybe that affected the psychology. But yeah, you know, Peterborough, it's very annoying, isn't it? Because the FA Cup, especially this season with the increased prize money and things like that, there is such a a prospect that we could do really well and help the club for the future. But you know, it is what it is. We've learned from that, definitely. We always thrive after losses, right? We've seen it so far.
We've said this before, Tom. You learn more in a defeat than you do in a win, in a sense, because you can correct the wrongs. And I don't think we done much wrong on the day. But the game like you compare it to was Leafield. The game I compare it to is Derby last year. It's like final minute of the game, final kick. Like, it's against a team like that. Like, it's very, very.
They played well. I mean, you look at that game. And you think, how did we win that team 4-0? We either played really well, you know, in the home tie, or they played really well in this one. But something didn't quite add up. But the Peterborough did really well, and just a shout out to some of the fans as well. Just like Peterborough, I think out of all the matches that we've been to so far this season, the Peterborough fans have been quite loud. They've been good. They've been good on social media as well, and it looks like they've got a good setup there. You know, the Twitter account is really good. And it's a good team. It's a good team. It's a good club.
Good to see. They support their team. They back them, and so it should be. So we back our club, and for me personally, it's probably one of the best away grounds that we've been to because of the level of atmosphere that's there. And what did you think on that, Andy?
Yeah, I definitely thought they definitely stifled us that day as well, because we were just getting like half chances, and obviously they went ahead, and then we were trying to push for the equaliser, which we got, and then we thought, we can go on and win this, but Peterborough, you know, they dug in as well. And I remember predicting before this game it was going to be 5-0 to us. How wrong was I? And I just thought, given the 4-0 we had, I thought we'll be just too strong for them. But to be fair to Peterborough, they put up a fight, and to say the goal at the end just, you know, it just all deflated us. But like I say, we'll be in the competition next season, and we'll be, like I say, going again in it. So hopefully progressing even further than this time. So to say, I know Peterborough got into a couple of more rounds, and obviously went out to Durham, but got to say, give them credit to
a championship club.
Durham, referencing Man United here, Durham have always given United a tough game as well, so let's just see credit to Peterborough and how far they've gone as well.
Moving on from that game, we bounced back in the only way that we know how. We went to Solihull Moors, who were a very, very good side, by the way, and won 3-1. They took the lead against us quite early on, and then
Yeah.
I think when we settled into the game, there only like 1 team in it after we settled into the
100%.
game. It took us 15 minutes to settle, but as soon as we did, two absolute worldies by Alex Nicklin,
Yeah.
and then
I was going to say, Solihull made it tough for us in that opening 20 minutes. Just don't think we found our rhythm. But once we got the equaliser, like, oh, it's like then it all just clicked into gear. And then like the second half, there was, I remember there was no goals, but we was just retaining control of it. So even though Solihull were trying, we just nullified any threat that they was having against us.
Yeah, like you all say, you know, I think the Birmingham County Cup, whatever it's called, you know, it's something that we want to do well in. We feel that we can do really well in this season, and to get it off, you know, with a start like this against a team in our league that are doing well, you know, they're still one of the contenders for the title, I would say personally. They're going to be up and around there, you know, come the end of the season. So yeah, I think going behind early, possibly, you know, the nerves were still there maybe from the last game. You know, we weren't 100% fully clicked, and then yeah, after they scored, you know, we sort of just we came into action really. Like you mentioned, 2 great goals from Alex Nicklin, another one from Need Deasy, and we just saw the game out from there. There was good game management as well, which is, you know, something, especially last season, we'd not seen a whole lot of at all really, game management. This season it's become more of a thing, you know, due to the closer score lines.
the calibre of opposition we're against.
Yeah.
There's been a big step up from Tier 5 to Tier 4 for me personally, but the way our squad have handled it in general has been absolute phenomenal.
100%.
Every single player, no matter if they're starting 11 or coming off the bench, they've absolutely handled this brilliantly, and it's great to see the mentality of the group, the way they handle it. For me, it's talking about the game. I'm sorry, I had to put it in there, but it's really nice to see.
100%.
I was really impressed with that win against Moors. I know it was a cup game, but for me, I mean, I've been very envious and of Solihull Moors over the last couple of seasons. I've been thinking to myself, okay, this is where I'd like Stourbridge to be. That's our next milestone. Let's catch up Solihull Moors. And I feel like watching that game away from home, chucking down around as well, bad weather conditions.
Nothing compared to Newcastle Town away.
Oh, Christ. Don't remind me.
But you know what though, we were so clear the better team on that day, and you know, like I say, good game management and great goals. But that was just a brilliant game from us, and for me I'm going to use the word dominate because I think we dominated that game. I appreciate we got off to a rocky start, but after that, I always felt there was always one winner, and for us to go to their ground. There's a little rivalry there because both teams want to get promoted. We kind of showed them that, hey, we're the top team in this league, it's not you. And I can't wait for any rematches like in the league. You know, we're going to play them in the league again, haven't we? And I'm really looking forward to that because I want to see the real Solihull. Is that the real Solihull? Because if it is, I'm not overly concerned in that sense. But I think the rematches will be a lot different.
Definitely. I've got to say as well, the atmosphere that game as well from the fans was phenomenal.
Reserve team came in, didn't they?
Reserve team, yeah. Anthony travelled all the way up from Haywards Heath, which is always a pleasure, never a chore. He loves it. But having him there as well just makes a big dip. You know, it adds to the atmosphere because no matter sun, rain, snow, he'll be up singing. He gets everyone else going. It's great. I don't think he gets the recognition he deserves, but it's great to have him around us.
He's getting there, I think
he is.
He's getting there.
Away fans when we was at Peterborough, like pulling that one up, we got pulled up again about him. Yeah, but it's just so good to see, like, and then the atmosphere. I think that spurred the players on and got them into another gear. And
yeah,
we know when we're in the mood.
We was the home team in that. If that's me, we was the home team.
Oh
in that
yeah,
game.
100%.
When we're in the mood, like we were after we went to goal down, like, I don't think it's a team that can stop up. Like when we get in that mood, we are unplayable at times. It's absolutely fantastic to see.
But yeah, I think now is the best time to go into to our next match, which was of course Leafield in the league, a team that we played, you know, maybe a month earlier in the cup. Obviously won 2-1 thanks to Lindsay Glover's extra time winner.
118th minute.
That was the one. So yeah, 2-0. here. It was a very different game, right, to the one we had a month even previously. I don't think Leafield were at their best. I think they were maybe missing one or two players. But yeah, it was a really, really good game from us. I think again we handled it well. Yeah, to see Lammy on the score sheet as well, brilliant to see. I know she'd had a few weeks or so without scoring a goal to see her back, obviously brilliant. And yeah, just an overall complete performance for me. Leafield, very, very good side, like we say with all these sides really, but Leafield, definitely a very, very good side. Going to be up the top end of the table, once it's all said and done. Yeah, and yeah, like I say, complete performance for me.
Yeah, I think we made it look easy, but I think it was down to us. Maybe what we learned from the previous game, maybe they overachieved in the previous game where we won them in the cup, and I don't know what happened, but it was a slightly different
it goes back to what Kieran mentioned, game management. We just managed it a lot better, and I think Andy Wall might have a few words to say on it, because been quite quiet.
I remember it being 1-0 for a very long time in that game. I was just thinking Leafield just only have to have one chance and then they'd be back in it. But as you said, the game management, and then when Lammy scored near towards stoppage time, it was like that was it. The game was settled now. So yeah, it's just it could have easily ended in us conceding the goal, but we didn't. Game management by Fisher and Harris and the rest of the coaching team was just excellent. So definitely a victory was happy with.
Yeah, I think that's what we always have to be a bit cautious about, right? Because this season we have been prone to conceding more goals, which is understandable, of course, stepping into a higher league. But I think sort of the way we're conceding them has always been a bit frustrating. It's sort of teams only having a couple, if not one chance during the game.
The goals considered have been mistakes of our own.
Exactly.
It's not
yeah,
the
exactly.
We just give them the opportunity to score.
Yeah, so especially when it's 1-0 and we're hanging on like that, we need that extra goal just to give us sort of that safety blanket, really. Because not that we can't trust the defence. It's absolutely not that. It's that once we've been so dominant and we're at the top of the table, maybe complacency slips in, and you forget what you're doing for a second, and then all of a sudden they've scored a goal. We've seen that already this season, so it's something that we have to be wary of. I think we definitely are aware of it now after it's happened, a couple of times at least. But yeah, going 2 goals ahead, I think really killed the game off for me.
Yeah, I think with it, it's as a fan, you definitely feel safer at 2-0 than you do 1-0. 1-0 is always a scarier scoreline. It's especially in this league with the calibre of players you're against, the slightest inkling makes a lot of difference. It doesn't even have to be a mistake, it's just the instincts of the players. It's more natural in this league that they're going to capitalise on anything. So teams have got better quality against us, and I think our record speaks for itself. We've stood up, we've been accounted for, we've been absolute phenomenal in this league. We do keep pushing. Teams will get one chance. It may have to be half a chance, it don't even have to be a full, and they will take it. And that's the difference between Tier 4 and Tier 5 is teams, the quality is so much better.
Yeah.
We'll move on from the Leafield game to, we got a bit of revenge.
Definitely.
We went to Peterborough away in the Plate.
Yeah.
And again, the long journey up there, long arduous journey. We ended with a coach that nearly died on us about 4 times by losing his gear. But
I remember.
Got there, and what a result, 4-0.
Yeah.
What a way to... We're beaten down here 4-0. There's some things said. We went there and we lost 2-1 in the FA Cup. We went there. Second time round. Absolutely dominated that game. I don't think we ever looked under any pressure. We was calm, we was collective. It was absolute sensational.
Yeah, I think it would have been very easy for a bit of nerves to creep in. Obviously, they'd done what they'd done about a month earlier. But yeah, like you say, complete performance. And I want to give a very special shout out to Kira Scarlett scoring her first goal of the season.
Definitely.
I think that was, it might have been the 4th goal, but it was the biggest eruption from the crowd.
Andy ran down the line.
Yeah,
she's one of our own.
She is one of our own, and yeah, it was excellent to see. Of course, hopefully she gets a few more minutes now. Obviously, we haven't had a game since then. But yeah, hopefully we get to see her in the first team and banging a few more goals, hopefully. So yeah, well done, Kira.
Just to add on that game, even though it was a much changed piece of her side, we still had to go out there and win that game. And
I'd say we were a much changed side as well. We didn't set out. We had key players out through the injuries that we suffered as well, and then we felt like we had a much stronger side than they did. So just
I think they rotated a bit, didn't they? From what I've heard, yeah.
It was quite a lot, and so we took advantage of that and we got the win. So
yeah.
Also, was it 2 goals from Alex and then 1 from Hannah as well? So to say it was an excellent performance all round, and it was just a bit of sweet revenge after the disappointment of the FA Cup exit as well.
So our rotation, where we're bringing Kira Scarlett on, who's an academy graduate. She's been through all the levels of the club, she's been through all the team, and
it's nice to see that
girl to come through the progression. Yeah. We've spoke about this many a time. It's nice to see a player like that come through, and she kept going.
Yeah, she kept going.
Better and better.
She come on, I think she come on and was playing left back, and she kept going and going and going. And the ball ended up in the back of the net, and it was a composed, calm finish as 100%. Well. It just shows the kind of player that she's developing into.
Yeah.
Which is very good. But it was nice to see the Peterborough fans getting in. They're quite vocal again. But this time we had Anthony with us, and he drowns everyone out. So
a bit of banter back and forth.
Yeah, and yeah, I think we're gonna close it here. But just before we end off, a bit of news: Sarah Hazell leaving to join Kiddy Harriers on dual registration. Yeah, what do we think about that?
I think it's kind of new for her as a player. She's by the most appearances as a substitute for us this season. She's been very, very key in some games as well. She's been very, very vital, but the minutes that she needs to continue her development, she needs to play inconsistently, and it's hard with the way that she was between the first team and the reserves. It's so if the first team can play every week in, week out, and I think so she's a very, very talented footballer, and I wish her all the best at Kiddy. She's a very, very good player.
Yeah, I just want to wish her the best of luck as well, because obviously she deserves that. The good thing is she's still part of Stourbridge, she's still training with us. Andy Fisher said his comments on the press conference that we did New Year's Eve, that was out on New Year's Eve. And I think it's really good for her, because she deserves first team football, no doubt about that. She's already at a fantastic level. And this is her chance to obviously shine now and just keep on developing. No doubt Fisher's got his eyes on her, and Andy's obviously close to the Kiddy manager, so we know exactly what's going. He'll know exactly what's going on, and well, I'm looking forward to seeing her play again. To be honest, because she's always entertaining. Let's put it that way.
Well, you look at her record this season for us. Made 11 appearances, 2 goals. Yeah, she played 11 games. 9 of them have resulted in a win. She's only been losing team twice, which is it's testament to her as well as a player. She offers something different than what we've had, and hopefully she goes to Kiddy and absolutely smash it, because she's the kind of girl that deserves to do it. She's a very, very good girl. She's a very, very nice girl off the field. She's a genuine person, and I wish her all the best, and I hope she absolutely annihilates Tier 5.
Yeah, and I think that as Jon's camera almost comes to an end of its life, I think that's where we're going to end it on that news. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed. Make sure you're checking out
like,
all the
share,
videos,
and subscribe.
All of that.
Definitely.
Make sure you're doing it.
We'll end on Fisher's final statement. We don't stop.
Oh yes.